fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
Alright, hello and welcome. Today's video we're going to go over the queuing system. It's quite complex, a little bit finicky. The first way what we're going to do is we're going to go over the menu here. If you hit the Enter Combat, there's a menu on the right that says Find Mission. This is probably the easiest way to accurately go somewhere in the beginning. I think in order to get into campaign missions you'll need to be level 3. So we click on the Find Mission, which gives a list of all the missions that are relevant to this particular character. Here we have Dog Crazy Bear, and this again is one of the reasons that we want an infantry character, because they're the easiest to get into battles. And if we take our primary character, which is infantry, and then no longer have any infantry characters, we may have a really difficult time getting into battles. And typically what I do is I'll get into a battle as an infantry character, and then you can switch to the tanker character or the other characters within that battle as the ATs permit. You can see all the missions here, and this one on the top here is a campaign mission. You have training missions. You can see all the active and qualified missions here. You have a bunch of campaign, a bunch of training, and generally it shows you the ping, and you want to look for the green pings, of course. It's also going to tell you 9 versus 7. Now there's a difference here where it will not allow you to have any more than 2 additional players than the other side. So if we have 9 and they have 7, there's no more slots on our side. Here is 14 versus 20. That means there's 6 extra slots that are available if there are enough ATs to support it. Now each AT has its own specific types of slots available, like this air unit right here on the left might have 3. This motorized infantry will have 6. So if you add all those available spawns together, that's another limitation. So that may be one reason why we can't get into this particular one. Here's 18 versus 18. 18 is the maximum number, so this battle right here is completely capped out. There are no more spots available in it. Here's 18 versus 13 them. Obviously we won't be able to get into that because we outnumber them. And eventually you can see something like this down here in the corner, Join Mission, which is basically the balance between our forces and their forces indicate that we have 1 spot available. And then we can just go ahead and click Join Mission, and that's a really quick way, if you just scroll through that list, to get into a mission and get started. You can also scroll the different characters, which will show you the ones that are relevant to that particular character if you'd like to spawn in as, say, a tanker or something like that. So now we've spawned into this mission, and we spawned as infantry, and that's what we have here, but we also have this scroller in the lower right hand corner. We can scroll the other units. Now you see that there's an open spot for a pilot. We got into this mission as an infantry, but we can switch to any of our other valid characters after we get in. It's just a lot easier to get in as an infantry. So now we can be a pilot, we could be airborne. You can see I'm switching the lower right hand corner of the screen back to infantry. So here's some recon. We could go as recon, another infantry, another pilot, and airborne. Alright, the next way to join a mission that I want to show you is the General's map itself. Now once you get level 3 you qualify for the campaign maps. All the campaign missions are represented on the campaign map. As you see here, the flashing lights, those are the battles. You see one flashing right in here, and this is an I cannot pronounce these names, so I'm not even going to try. It's flashing on the screen. We click on it, it will tell us all the information about that battle, including the units that are involved on both sides and the location of the supply line, A, B, C, D, or E. It'll tell us the number of players. It won't count them for us, but as you can see on this one on the lower right hand corner, they have 2 more players than we have, and that means potentially there may be 2 spots for us because they have 18 and we have 16. And I can do that without counting. So I cycle through and there's nothing available because I'm still locked in the prior mission. I might be able to just go into this one, and you saw how easy that was to just pull it up and then go in. Now I want to show you the difference between a skirmish mission and a regular mission. Skirmish mission is this one that's flashing on the supply line. You click on the supply line, it'll be a skirmish. It says skirmish cleave. Here's the resources. We can click and see there's only 51 infantry on our side, 190 on theirs. That's the number of potential spawns that they have left versus ours. There's motorcycles, recon, terrain vehicles. Looking at the players list, it's pretty even. There's 2 recon and there's 3 in a guard unit, so there's 5 here. There are no additional spots available for this battle. I can just count those up looking at our blue tabs right there and know that we can't get in. We're at a disadvantage because now it's not an issue of we just can't have any more players. We don't have enough assault teams on the left here, the blue teams, in the battle to be able to support more spawns. That is one reason that you can lose a battle, is if you're not properly supported by the generals or whoever is running this area or that attack. Here is a town defense. You can tell it's a town defense based on the fact that it's a blue flashing bulb. If it was a town attack, it would be a red flashing ball, because the opposite team would have it, and therefore it would be red, and then it would be flashing. So we have it, it's blue and flashing. And if you were on the other team, it would be in reverse. So our towns appear red to them, and their towns appear blue to them. So if we click on this town battle, we can see that we can enter combat right out of the gate. So getting into it is not that difficult. If I scroll through all the different types that I have, here's a tanker. I can get in as a tanker. I can't get in as a recon because there's no recon units on the field. I can get in as an airborne, or I can get in as infantry. So you see this enter combat button here. That's what you really want to look for, or you can queue it. If you know that there's going to be more spawn slots available, or they're having more ATs come into this particular area, you can go ahead and queue for it. However, if you see 18 players and it's full, chances are you don't want to queue for it, because I don't think they'll be dropping out. To the north, Meppin is one. I know for a fact, I know some of the guys in this list, they're attacking this town right now. This is their area of operation. There's a bunch of paratroopers, so if we cycled over our paratrooper, we'd be able to queue for this mission as well. And this would be a good queue because it's not full, and we can see that there's plenty of units to support more players in this battle. And if you're in coordinated play, you guys are pretty much traveling in a group, and you know which towns you're going to be fighting in. And so when that town gets into a town battle, you all join together, and it's pretty successful at keeping the group together. But you do have to be in TeamSpeak, and you do have to be well coordinated. In fact, I'll give you an example of that. We're going to join the TeamSpeak server, and we're just going to ask them where are they operating, and then we're going to try to get into that battle. Let's see if we can pull this off. It'll be interesting. So
That'll be helpful.
Alright, someone's dropped a B2.
Aldo, you're such a noob.
such a noob. Hey guys, which town are you in now? Meppin?
Yeah, Meppin.
Meppin? Okay, I'm going to try to get in there.
And have a bunch of people drop before and try to hold it.
I dropped before.
Now we'll talk about the final way, which is new in Rommel. On the left here you see random mission. There's training missions and campaign missions. I want to talk a little bit about that. Training missions have no consequence to them, and they're a really good place for you to go and learn. Like if you're leveling up your pilot or you're leveling up your tanker, which I've even done recently. I have tankers and pilots that are almost officer levels. I know how to play those roles very, very well, but I go into training missions because, number one, they're easy to get into. Number two, there's no consequence for it. Now, there's consequence for the campaign missions. And if you're new and you're not really experienced at running tanks, and you get into a tank, and let's say you lose like 6 or 7 of them in a campaign battle, because you're up against foes that are much better than you, or you're just simply not very good at running them, that is actually going to cost somebody some money. So training missions is a better place to get experience for that. You just simply check the box that is appropriate to you and queue for a random mission. It's the easiest way to get going. Sometimes it takes amount of time depending on what type of a character your queued is. So I'd have been in there for about 30 or 40 seconds, and now I'm already queued into a match. So that wasn't too bad. I think as long as you're infantry, you should get in within a minute or two, maybe 3 tops. However, if you're trying something like tank or a pilot, it may be significantly longer, particularly if you uncheck the training missions, because those are the ones that are always open. The campaign missions will depend entirely on the generosity of the generals and the people who have the AT teams to throw those resources into battles, and people tend to be very reserved with their tanks and planes because they're very costly. Got him.